The deep blue sky of Varelia stretched above the landing site. As Rian stepped out of the human shuttle, the air was warmer than Earth's, carrying a faint sweet scent like blooming flowers after rain. Around the landing zone, tall crystal-like trees rose in graceful shapes, their surfaces reflecting the sunlight into shimmering patterns on the ground. The ground itself felt firm but not hard, covered in smooth moss that cushioned every step. Rian's boots sank slightly into the moss as he followed the human delegation toward a large structure ahead. It was neither a palace nor a fortress, but something in between. The walls curved upward like the petals of a giant flower, and strange glowing veins ran across its surface. He had seen pictures of Varelia before leaving Earth, but the real thing was far more alive than any image could show. The human team consisted of 6 members, all wearing the same formal uniform. They were here for a diplomatic exchange, to discuss possible trade agreements and mutual defense. The leader of the delegation, a tall man named Harl, walked in front with a confident stride. Rian walked at the rear, carrying a small pack of tools and devices. His role was technical support, someone to ensure the equipment worked if any demonstrations were needed. Varelian guards stood at the entrance of the building. Their armor looked like it had grown from their bodies, dark green and pattern-like. The bark of a tree. Each one held a staff that pulsed with faint light at the top. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were sharp, tracking every movement of the humans as they passed inside. The air was cooler, with a soft light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The interior was a blend of nature and craft, with smooth floors shaped from living material and pillars that appeared to be rooted deep into the ground. At the far end of the hall, on a raised platform, stood Queen Velra. She was taller than most humans, her presence commanding but not threatening. Her skin was a pale silver green that caught the light in soft waves, and her eyes were a deep, steady gold. Her clothing was made of layered, leaf-like material, each piece shifting slightly. As she moved, almost as if alive, the human delegation stopped at a respectful distance. Harl stepped forward and gave the formal greeting, speaking of friendship and cooperation. Velra listened in silence, her gaze moving across each face. When her eyes settled on Rian, they lingered a moment longer than on the others. Rian felt a strange weight in that look, not hostile but searching. He was used to being invisible in meetings like this. Usually, the leaders spoke, the translators worked, and the technicians waited quietly in the background. But Velra seemed to see him differently, as if she was already measuring something beyond his uniform. After the formal words were exchanged, Velra descended from the platform and approached the group. Her steps were quiet, the long folds of her garment whispering against the floor. She spoke in clear, accented human language, surprising Rian with how easily she formed the words. "You have traveled far," she said, "and you come to speak of trust. But trust is not built in words alone." Harl nodded, smiling in the careful way diplomats do. "That is why we are here, Your Grace. We hope to learn and understand." Velra's golden eyes turned again to Rian. "And you?" she asked. "What do you hope to learn?" Rian hesitated. He had not expected to be addressed directly. His training told him to keep answers short and respectful. "I hope to learn how your people live and how we can work together," he said simply. Something in his answer made her tilt her head slightly, as if testing the sound of his words in her mind. Then she gestured for them to follow her deeper into the hall. They walked through a wide corridor where walls opened into gardens lit by soft blue light. Plants grew in perfect harmony, some winding upward in spirals, others forming wide leaves that shaded pools of clear water. Varelian attendants moved silently among the gardens, tending to the plants with delicate tools that looked like extensions of their own hands. Velra spoke as they walked. "This world is alive in every part. The air, the water, the soil, all must remain in balance. Our enemies do not see this balance. They wish to take without giving." Her tone was calm, but there was an edge beneath it, like a warning. The delegation entered a chamber filled with a soft hum. In the center stood a towering structure of crystal and living vines. It pulsed with a steady rhythm, sending faint vibrations through the floor. "This is the heart of our city," Velra said. It powers our lights, our homes, our defenses. Without it, we would fall. Rian stepped closer, drawn by the way the vines seemed to grow and shift even as the crystal remained still. His trained eye saw the complexity of the system, both biological and mechanical. This was unlike anything he had studied before. Velra noticed his interest. You understand what you see. A little, Rian admitted. It is alive, but also engineered. I've never seen a system like this. Her lips curved in a faint smile. Perhaps you will see more, if you are willing to learn. Harl quickly stepped in. We would be honored to study your technology, if you permit it. Our worlds could benefit greatly from shared knowledge. Velra's gaze remained on Rian as she replied, knowledge is a gift, but it must be shared with care. Those who receive it must be worthy. There was a pause. The hum of the crystal seemed to fill the space between them. Rian felt as though the conversation had shifted in a way the others did not notice. By the time they returned to the main hall, Rian could still feel the weight of Velra's attention on him. She had spoken to the group, but her words seemed meant for him alone. As they prepared to leave, she stopped him with a simple request. Tomorrow, you will walk with me. There is something I wish you to see. Harl raised an eyebrow but said nothing. The Varillian guard stepped aside, and the humans exited the building. Outside, the golden light of Varilia's twin suns was beginning to fade into the soft glow of evening. Rian glanced back at the structure, its glowing veins shining brighter in the dim light. He did not know why the queen had singled him out, but he had the feeling that tomorrow would not be a simple tour. The next morning, the sun rose softly over Varilia's bright horizon. Rian awoke early in the guest quarters, a room filled with gentle light and the quiet hum of the living building. The soft walls seemed to breathe, and small vines curled gently round the windows. Even in sleep, this world felt alive in a way Earth never had. Rian dressed quickly and left his room. The halls of the structure were peaceful and calm, but beneath the surface, he sensed a strange energy building. Today, he would walk with Queen Velra herself. At the entrance hall, Velra waited for him. Her silver-green skin seemed to shimmer in the morning light. She did not wear the heavy leaf-like robes of the day before. Instead, her outfit was simpler, made of smooth, flexible material that moved with her easily. Good morning, Rian, she said. Her voice was soft, but carried a strength that made him stand taller. Are you ready to see what you came for? Rian nodded. I'm ready, Your Grace. They stepped outside into the open gardens. The air was fresh, and the plants seemed to reach toward the sun with quiet grace. Velra walked slowly, and Rian had to keep pace. As they moved, she spoke quietly. Our world is not like yours, she said. The Virillians do not conquer. We protect. We live in balance with the land and the sky. Rian listened carefully. The people here had technology far beyond Earth's, but it was tied to nature, not separate from it. That balance was fragile. Vlra stopped near a large tree with glowing leaves. Its trunk pulsed gently, as if it held a steady heartbeat. This tree is the oldest living thing on Varelia, she said. It has seen centuries of peace and conflict. It knows the weight of our choices. Rian looked at the tree in wonder. Its glowing leaves seemed to hum with quiet energy. As much as we wish for peace, Velra continued, our world is not safe. A distant empire watches us. They want to take our power, our land. They threaten to destroy what we have built. Rian's heart tightened. He had heard rumors of the rival empire, but hearing it from Velra made it real. Your people are ready to fight, Rian asked. Velra smiled sadly. We do not wish for war. Our warriors defend, but we seek to avoid bloodshed. We hope to find allies. Rian thought of the human delegation waiting in the city. Earth had many interests, not all kind. The chance for trade or power often came at the cost of others. As they walked deeper into the gardens, Velra stopped beside a small pool filled with clear water. Fish swam lazily beneath the surface, their scales shining in the light. This pool is part of our life system, Velra explained. Water flows through every part of Varelia. We guard it carefully. Without it, our plants die. Our people suffer. Rian knelt by the pool, dipping a finger into the cool water. It was clean, Pure in a way Earth's rivers rarely were anymore. Velra's eyes watched him closely. What do you think of our world, Rian? It is beautiful, he said honestly, different from Earth, but alive in a way I have never seen. She nodded. It is more than beauty, it is survival. Suddenly, a group of Varillian guards appeared from behind the trees. They carried news. Velra listened, her expression darkening. The rival empire's fleet is moving closer. One guard said. Velra turned to Rian. You see now why we must be careful. If we lose balance, all is lost. Rian wanted to help but felt helpless. He was just a technician, not a leader. Velra seemed to sense this. Your role is more important than you know, she said quietly. Sometimes, the smallest actions change the greatest outcomes. They returned to the city slowly. Velra led Rian to a laboratory where her scientists worked with living machines. Machines that breathed, grew, and healed like living creatures. Rian studied the devices with growing fascination. This technology was a blend of biology and engineering beyond Earth's understanding. It was clear that Velra's people value life in every form. We use this technology to protect our home, Velra said. It is not a weapon to conquer, but a shield to guard. Rian thought about Earth's own technology, often made for war or profit. The difference was clear. The human delegation met them at the lab. Harl smiled, but his eyes held suspicion. Rian, are you enjoying the tour? Harl asked. It is impressive. Rian replied carefully. There is much we can learn here. Harl's smile did not reach his eyes. Indeed, but we must remember our priorities. Earth's interests come first. Velra's gaze turned cold. Your priorities may bring ruin if they ignore respect. The tension in the room grew. Rian felt caught between two worlds. He admired Velra's people and their care for balance, yet his mission was tied to Earth's plans. After the meeting, Velra pulled Rian aside. Be cautious, she warned. Not all who speak of friendship are true. Rian nodded. He understood that the coming days would test more than his skills. They would test his heart and loyalty. As night fell on Varelia, Rian looked out at the glowing city. The alien lights shimmered against the dark sky, but inside him, a storm was growing. He did not yet know what he would choose when the moment came, but he knew his answer would change everything. The day after his walk with Queen Velra, Rian woke early again. The feeling of tension had not left him. The beauty of Varelia's world hid a growing danger, one he could no longer ignore. As the sun rose, Rian joined the human delegation for a meeting in the council hall. The room was large and filled with light from the glowing walls. Round the circular table sat the leaders of the mission, including Harl, the head of the delegation. Rian noticed that the mood was different today. Whispers and exchanged glances suggested something was happening beneath the surface. During the meeting, Harl spoke about the rival empire's advance. We cannot let the Virelians stand alone, Harl said firmly. Their technology is valuable, but it is weak if they are defeated. Earth's interests demand that we prepare to side with the strongest power. Rian's heart sank. He had expected the humans to be cautious, but this plan sounded like a betrayal. If the humans helped the rival empire, Velra's people would be left vulnerable. Later, Rian found a quiet corner and access to a secure communication channel. He reached out to a trusted contact on Earth. His voice was low as he explained what he had learned. They planned to betray the Virelians, he said, to help the rival empire take control. We are supposed to observe, but I think there is more. His contact replied, you must be careful. This could cause a war. But if you can stop it, you will be a hero. Rian felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He wanted to warn Velra, but feared the human delegation would accuse him of treason. That afternoon, Velra invited Rian to meet her in a secluded garden. The place was filled with glowing flowers and soft sounds of water. It was one of her favorite spots for thinking. She greeted him with a quiet smile. You seem troubled, Rian. Tell me what weighs on your mind. Rian hesitated. Could he trust her fully? The answer was yes. He had seen her honesty and care. So he spoke carefully. There are plans in the human delegation that will harm your people. He said, They intend to side with the rival empire. To gain advantage, I wanted to warn you. Velra's eyes darkened with concern. I feared this was true. Our enemies grow stronger because of such alliances. She reached out and touched a nearby flower. Its petals shimmered under her fingers. Why would your people betray us? She asked quietly. Rian thought about Earth's history. How power and profit often overcame kindness. Some leaders believe survival means taking what is easiest. They do not see the cost. Velra nodded slowly. Then we must be careful who we trust. She looked at him with steady eyes. Thank you for your honesty, Rian. It is a rare gift. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Varillian warriors. Velra stood, her expression sharp. There is unrest among our people, she said. Some fear that humans cannot be trusted. Others believe we must prepare for war. Rian felt the room tighten with tension. The fragile peace was breaking. Velra turned back to him. Will you stand with us, Rian, or with those who plan betrayal? Rian took a deep breath. His answer would decide more than his own fate. I do not belong to either side, he said carefully. But I want to protect what is right. I want to help you and your people. Velra's golden eyes searched his face. Then she nodded. Then you will have a place beside us. The days that followed were filled with secret meetings and quiet plans. Rian worked with Velra's scientists, using his knowledge to help strengthen their defenses. He learned more about their living technology and the deep connection Virillians had to their world. At the same time, he kept his distance from the human delegation's leaders. Their smiles never reached their eyes when they spoke to him. He could feel their doubt and suspicion growing. One evening, as Rian studied the energy core with Velra's engineers, a message arrived from Earth. It ordered him to return immediately. The reason was unclear, but the tone was firm. Rian showed the message to Velra. They want me back, he said, but I do not want to leave while your world is in danger. Velra placed a hand on his shoulder. You must follow your heart. Rian, if your heart tells you to stay, then stay. That night, Rian stood outside and looked at the stars. He thought of Earth, so far away, and of Varelia, a world full of life and hope. His choice was clear, but difficult. He was no longer just a technician. He was part of something greater, and soon, he would have to face the question that Velra had hinted at, a question that could change everything. The sun was low in the sky when Velra led Rian to a quiet chamber deep within the heart of the city. The room was filled with soft light from glowing vines that climbed the walls, casting a gentle green glow. The air was warm and smelled faintly of fresh earth and flowers. It was a place where the Virillians came to think and reflect. Rian felt a strange calm as he followed the queen through the chamber. He had spent many days learning about her world and her people. But this moment felt different. It was as if something important was about to happen. Velra stopped near the center of the room and turned to face him. Her golden eyes looked steady and serious. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was filled with quiet energy. Then Velra asked, her voice soft but clear. If the moment came, Rian, would you betray me? The question hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Rian blinked in surprise. He had expected many things during his time on Varelia, but this direct question was not one of them. He looked into her eyes and saw not anger or suspicion, but a deep need for truth. Velra was not asking to test him, but because she needed to know where he stood. She needed to know if she could trust him with her people's fate. Rian took a slow breath. He knew this answer could change everything. It could bring war or peace. It could save lives or destroy them. He thought of the human delegation and their secret plans. He thought of Velra's hope for friendship and balance. He thought of his own heart, pulled in many directions. After a moment, he spoke. Betrayal is a word for those who break trust. Trust is not given lightly. It is earned by actions, by honor, and by choice. Velra listened closely. And what do you choose, Rian? He met her gaze and said, I choose to be loyal to what is right, to those who show respect and care. I choose not because of orders or duty alone, but because I believe in what you stand for. Velra's expression softened. For the first time, a small smile touched her lips. Your answer is honest, she said. It is rare to find such truth. She stepped closer. You have surprised me, Ryun. You have shown a strength I did not expect. Ryun felt a warmth spread through him. The weight of the moment lifted. But new questions took its place. Velra motioned to a seat nearby. They sat facing each other. In the quiet chamber, the glowing vines casting dancing shadows around them. Tell me, Velra said. How do humans decide who to trust? How do you know when to stand with another? Ryun thought carefully. It is not always easy. Sometimes we trust too quickly and are hurt. Sometimes we wait too long and miss chances. But when someone shows kindness without expecting reward, when they protect others even when it is hard, then trust grows. Velra nodded slowly. Your people are not so different from mine. They talked for a long time. Velra shared stories of Aurelia's history, times when the people faced great danger, and how they survived by standing together. Ryun told her about Earth's struggles, its mistakes, and its hopes. Outside, the city lights began to glow brighter as the twin suns set. The chamber felt like a safe place, a small island of peace in a world full of uncertainty. As the conversation came to an end, Velra stood and reached out her hand. Will you stand with us? Ryun, not just in words, but in heart and action. Ryun took her hand firmly. I will stand with you. Velra's smile deepened, and she squeezed his hand gently. Then you have changed the path of our future. Just then, a guard entered the chamber with urgent news. The rival empire's ships had been detected closer to Aurelia's borders. The time for decisions was near. Velra's face grew serious again. We must prepare. But I trust you, Ryun. Together, we will face what comes. Ryun nodded. Though the question had been heavy, it had also brought clarity. He was no longer just an observer. He was part of this world's story. As they left the chamber, Ryun looked back once more at the glowing vines. Their light seemed stronger now, as if reflecting the hope that had been kindled between two very different peoples. The air was cool in the evening as Ryun walked beside Queen Velra. Through the winding paths of the Aurelian gardens, the twin suns had set, and the soft glow from the plants lit their way. The world felt quiet but full of unseen energy. Ryun's mind replayed the question Velra had asked in the quiet chamber. Would he betray her? That question had not left him since. Now, it was time to answer, not just with words but with his actions. They reached a small clearing where the energy core pulsed with gentle light. The living vines wrapped round the crystal, feeding it power as it hummed steadily. Round the clearing, Velra's warriors stood watch, their faces serious but calm. Velra stopped and turned to face Ryun. You have thought on my question, she said softly. Now tell me, what is your answer? Ryun looked into her golden eyes. His own feelings were clear. My answer is that loyalty is not something forced. It is earned by respect, trust, and choice. I choose to stand with you because you have shown honor and care for your people and this world. Velra studied him, her face unreadable for a moment. Then, slowly, she stepped back. The surprise in her eyes was clear. Ryun had expected doubt or anger, but instead, she showed something like relief. You surprise me, Ryun, Velra said quietly. Most would answer out of fear or duty, but you answer with truth. Ryun nodded. I cannot betray what I believe is right, even if others demand it. I will not turn my back on those who have shown me trust. Velra's expression softened further. Then you stand with us, not because you must, but because you choose. Yes, Ryun said firmly. Because I believe in the future we can build together, around them. The energy core's glow seemed to brighten, as if sensing the change. Velra looked up at the core and then back at Ryun. This answer changes everything, she said. You have shown strength and honor. With you, we may find a path beyond war. Ryun felt a new weight settle on him, the weight of responsibility. But it was not a burden. It was a chance to protect something greater than himself. Velra stepped forward and placed her hand gently on his arm. You will join my council. Your knowledge and honesty are needed. Ryun felt a mix of pride and uncertainty. He was a technician, not a leader, but he understood that sometimes those who see the world differently hold the greatest power. Just then, The calm was broken by the sound of approaching footsteps. Guards entered the clearing, bringing news from the borders. The rival empire's ships had moved closer, and tension was rising among the Virilians. Velra straightened. The time for talk grows short. We must prepare for what comes. Rian looked at her with determination. Then we must stand united. No betrayal, only trust. Velra smiled, a rare warmth in her gaze. Together, we are stronger than they expect. As the night deepened, Rian stayed beside Velra, feeling that, for the first time, his choice was clear. He was no longer a visitor or a spy. He was a guardian of a fragile peace and a new hope. The council hall was alive with quiet conversations and careful planning. Rian stood beside Queen Velra as she addressed her trusted advisors. The air was thick with tension but also with hope. The rival empire's ships were close, and every moment counted. Velra's voice was steady as she spoke. We have few allies in this fight. We must be ready to defend our world, but also open to those who seek peace. Rian watched as the council nodded. Many faces were familiar from the days he had spent in the city. They were strong and wise, but he sensed the worry behind their calm. Suddenly, the doors opened and human officials entered. Harl led the group, his expression serious. The room grew colder. Queen Velra, Rian, Harl began. We come with a message from Earth. Rian is to return immediately. The mission is over. Velra's golden eyes narrowed. Rian has earned a place here. His loyalty is clear. Harl's tone sharpened. That may be true, but orders are orders. Rian must leave. Rian felt a surge of conflict. His superiors demanded his return, but his heart was with Velra and her people. Velra stepped forward. Rian has chosen his path. He will not be forced to betray the trust he has built. Harl looked at Rian. You will obey. Failure to do so is insubordination. Rian met Harl's gaze. I will not betray what I believe is right. I will stay. A hush fell over the room. The humans and Virilians watched him, waiting for what would come next. Harl's face tightened. This is unacceptable. Velra raised her hand. Enough. Rian is a part of our council now. His choice is respected. The tension was sharp, but no one moved to violence. The moment was a test of will. Later, Rian sat with Velra in a quiet chamber. They will not give up easily, she said. Rian nodded. I know, but I will stand with you. Velra smiled. Your courage gives me hope. Outside, the city hummed with life and quiet strength. The plants glowed brighter in the night, as if sensing the bond forming between two very different peoples. Rian knew the days ahead would be difficult. The rival empire was near, and the humans might return with force. But he also knew that true power came not from weapons or orders, but from trust and loyalty. Earned for the first time, he felt he was exactly where he needed to be. The days passed slowly, but the tension around Virelia grew heavier. The rival empire's ships hovered just beyond the planet's atmosphere, their massive forms darkening the sky like storm clouds. The people of Virelia moved with a quiet determination, preparing their defenses and strengthening their connections to the living world that sustained them. Rian stood beside Queen Velra in the council hall, watching as plans unfolded to protect their home. He had become more than a visitor. He was a trusted advisor and friend. His knowledge of human technology helped the Virilians adapt and improve their defenses, blending their bioengineered systems with new ideas. Yet, the threat from Earth lingered. The human delegation, led by Harl, continued to demand Rian's return. They threatened consequences if he did not obey, but Rian refused. His loyalty had shifted to the people who had shown him honor and trust. One evening, as the twin suns set and the city's glowing lights shimmered in the growing darkness, Harl arrived with a final warning. Rian, you must leave now, Harl said, his voice firm but not without respect. Your actions could cause a serious conflict between Earth and Virelia. Rian met his gaze without fear. I have made my choice. I cannot return to Earth while your plans threaten this world. Velra stood beside him, her presence strong and proud. He is no longer bound by your orders. Harl's expression softened. Then you leave us no choice but to reconsider our approach. As Harl and his team left the council hall, the people of Varelia gathered around. There was a mixture of hope and worry in their eyes. The coming days would test their strength and unity like never before. Rian turned to Velra. "What will we do now?" Velra smiled gently. "We stand united. We show the rival empire that we will not be broken. And we prove that trust between different worlds is stronger than fear or power." Together, they addressed the people, sharing words of courage and hope. The Virelians felt renewed purpose. Even the plants seemed to glow brighter, as if energized by their spirit. As the rival empire's ships drew closer, an unexpected event occurred. The rival leaders, witnessing the growing alliance between Rian and Velra, hesitated. They realized that a battle would be costly and uncertain. Slowly, they began to withdraw. Peace returned, but it was fragile. Rian knew this was only the beginning of a new chapter, one where humans and Virelians could learn from each other and build a better future. Standing beside Velra under the shining stars, Rian felt a deep sense of belonging. He had chosen not just a side but a purpose: to protect, to honor, and to trust. The future was uncertain, but with courage and faith in one another, they would face it together.